All right. Hello, everyone. You are here with me, Symone Jackson. We are preparing to go into our interview series of celebrating excellence. So, we are celebrating those that exemplify excellence. Definitely go into the comments if you are enjoying some of the things you have seen from this. You may have seen short video reels, you may have seen little excerpts that I've been putting out. But we want you to come on in here on Facebook Live, here on my YouTube Live. Put in comments if you are enjoying the interview series to see if this is something we're going to continue to go through down the road. Now, today I have a very special guest, someone that I have known for 18 years, a young lady who has exemplified excellence in her life. And when I'm doing this interview, I'm thinking about many young people, many parents that have children that are transitioning from high school to college, going through that experience. And this is a young lady. She is a college freshman at Illinois State University. She is a graduate of Rich Township class of 2022 by way of Rich East because she started out there for 2 years before the merger. She was not a fan of it, but she made it through anyway. This young lady means a lot to me because this is my daughter. This is my firstborn. Her name is Symone Jackson. So to see some of the decisions she has made in her life and just the path she is going on, I am definitely a proud father. And I thought she would have. She is an excellent choice for a guest to speak to our young people. And I think some of the choices that she has made has caused her to stand out as a leader. It's not always easy being different, but I think watching some of the things that she's doing in her life, she's not much of a follower. She stands alone. Sometimes as her dad, I'm just in awe of the things that she does. So I wanted to bring her in here, hoping to captivate the young people in our audience. So you will see all type of guests. You'll see older people, younger people, middle age, all type of stuff when we celebrate excellence. Just trying to bring more exposure to people to highlight the great things they are doing. And our guest on today is Symone Jackson. So hi Symone, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So that's wonderful. So she's at college, everybody. We ain't gonna take up too much of her time because she needs to be studying. So, all right. So as we talk about excellence, Symone, one thing that I want to talk about when we talk about the different choices that you have made. At the age of 16, Symone had a purity ceremony, which Symone declared her abstinence until she gets married. Abstinence meaning she's going to refrain from all sexual intimacy until she meets her husband and she marries him, and then they have their wedding night. This is something that in my generation growing up, they used to have purity ceremonies for young men, young ladies. I know it's something that is going on today, but we know the world we live in. We know the generation that we're dealing with. This is not something that I would say is a popular choice amongst her age group. This is not something that you hear about a lot in her age group. And as we start this interview, Symone, just want to know what led you to that decision? Because usually you're a sweet 16, you want the parties. There used to be a show on MTV about it. You celebrating, you partying, you kicking it. You don't see too many sweet 16s being exposed for young ladies or young men making a decision to pledge their abstinence until they get married. So what caused you to make that decision?
Um, I most definitely did want the big party, the Sweet 16 stuff, but um, growing up in church and seeing the way that you live, my godparents live, that's something that I wanted for myself, something that I wanted to find out for myself. I wanted to have a closer relationship with God, and I understood growing up that I was different because I grew up in church and because of the parent that I had. Um, so I, at the time when I was making that decision and I did find out about purity rings and stuff, I saw it as a way for me to create a closer relationship with God on my own. Because growing up in church is one thing, but it's another when you now have your own mindset as you're getting older and you choose, yeah, this is the religion that I choose. I want to have my own relationship with God. It's something that I'm choosing for myself. So that was really the reason behind me wanting to get it. And also on top of that, my generation has its flaws for sure. And I really just wanted to prevent things like teen pregnancy or catching diseases. Them are not problems that I want at all. And I know that I'm not ready for those type of responsibilities. Um, I just see my life going a certain way. I know that God has plans for me, and I don't want things like that to get in the way of His plans or what I want to do. So that was another reason for me wanting to get a purity ring. It most definitely was not an easy decision to make because of the generation that I'm in. I understood that I was going to be judged and people wouldn't understand my decision. And I, of course, was worried about the fact, like, am I going to be able to stay committed to this commitment? But yeah, that was the reason behind me wanting to get a purity ring, merely because of the fact that I wanted to grow a stronger relationship with God on my own. And just because of the generation that I'm in. I don't want to be the same as everybody else. I wanted to make a decision whether I had to do it alone or had support.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, with your decision, you said you want to avoid things like teen pregnancy, catching diseases. I also believe that when someone makes that decision to become sexually active, it's also a thing of maturity. There's a lot of emotional and feelings that come with that. A lot of other things that are attached, soul ties, different things along that. And so you wanted to avoid all those things. So now you leave high school, you go to college. Me being in college, and I know it's been almost ooh, what, 18 years since I graduated college. It's not funny. Um, there's almost an expectancy sometime or even pressure that can be put on you to be active, to do a lot of things, drink, get involved in certain stuff, do different things. Now we want to stick with the abstinence. So now that you're in that atmosphere, and I know it's only your first year, and like you said, it wasn't an easy decision. You've been judged, but now you're going into an atmosphere where it's even more prevalent. It's even more. It's all over. You've probably heard, seen things on campus, and your generation has more social media. When I
Mm-hmm.
went to college, I graduated in 2000. Kind of social media was really kind of just open it up. You know, you all have Facebook, you all have Twitter, you all have Instagram, you have Snapchat, you have all these different. We was just getting into what was it? MySpace, Black Planet. It was in y'all phone. So you had to, in my generation, had to literally go to stuff, talk to people to hear certain things. Y'all could just pull up y'all phone and know who was with who did what last night, what went down. So now that you're in that college atmosphere where it's even a bigger stage and there's even more pressure, because I believe there's nothing new under the sun. Yeah, the same things that I was enduring in college, I know you may be enduring them too. How are you still holding on to that pledge that you made almost now 2, 3 years ago? So I'm sure there's people that might have said, "Oh, she's not going to hold on to that. She's going to college. She finna while out." Labels and things people try to proclaim on you is just the norm in a sense. So how have you been able to yet maintain your integrity to hold on to that despite transitioning into now another atmosphere where the urge to do these things may even become stronger, and it can also create more peer pressure for you?
Uh, I'll say that, well, for sure, there are more. The atmosphere in college is completely different from high school. So I've most definitely seen more. But when I got this purity ring, I understood that I would have to gain a lot of discipline for myself, despite the environments that I was around or the people that were around me. Because sometimes you can't help it. I'm in college, so I'm gonna bump into situations. I'm gonna be around people. Sometimes I can't help it. You're on a college campus. You're going to be surrounded by things, so you have to have a lot of self discipline. So that's really what's been getting me through. And then again, I bumped into a lot of mess in high school that was just over the top. So kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. So when I got to college and I saw certain things, I was just like, okay. I mean, it don't really bother me much anymore because this generation, I feel like no matter if you're in high school or college, it's all the same. It's just in college you have no rules. You don't have any parents telling you, no, you can't go out tonight. You don't have anybody telling you you want punishment, this, and that. But I mean, I feel like in college and high school it's the same atmosphere. So when I did take that chance in high school to, I guess, test the waters and do what I wanted to, put a bad taste in my mouth. And I was just like, yeah, no, we're not gonna do that again. So when I did get to college, I just wasn't phased by it in a sense. So now I have a lot more discipline for myself to where when I'm in certain situations or around certain people, I guess I just tune it out. Like when I got here, it just
Mm-hmm.
wasn't no different for me. So when I don't know, it doesn't bother me. I just have a lot of discipline, so I tune it out, or I don't go get around much. I've been very antisocial since I got here, so I ain't been to no parties or anything. So aside from self discipline, I guess just me as a person, I don't get put in situations like that, so it hasn't really bothered me much. Yeah.
Okay, good. Excuse me. All right, so and as you were talking about that transition to college, we want to hit a couple of things. As hopefully many young people will listen to this, parents. I know many parents that have kids that are prepared. They're either in college, preparing to go. And I just want to kind of put on the forefront on what someone goes through from the viewpoint of a student, a child that's had went from high school to college. So let's talk about being independent. I'm assuming you would say that when you were in high school, excuse me, you had a lot of support. You had, of course, me, your dad, your mom, your family, your church family, people that were doing stuff for you, always there for you. If you need to ride somewhere, you got to ride. You had all these different people supporting you. And now you're in college. Excuse me. So now it's a lot of dependency on you. You don't have those direct support systems there with you. So tell us about that transition.
Um, my transition from high school to college, as far as support and learning to be a little more independent, was hard because, as y'all know, I'm a daddy's girl and I be stuck to his hip like glue. But when I got to college, I had to learn that, okay, you can't call him every time you have an issue with a professor or you want him to call the school. I just had to learn to be more independent on my own, which was it's hard. I feel like the transition from high school to college is going to be hard for anybody, especially with the support system that I had. But luckily, while I was in high school, because of the support system that I did have, I was kind of, I don't want to say forced, but taught to be independent. Like they prepared me for my transition to college. So it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. So when I did get here, I already kind of knew how to handle business for myself, how to reach out and speak up more for myself. So it wasn't so hard because the support system that I did have, you all taught me how to be independent so that when I got here, it wouldn't be as hard. But if I do need help, I can come to you all, of course. But it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. Um, and now that I'm here, it's it's just it's not as hard because you all taught me how to be independent as I, made my steps through high school and now I'm in college. But I do always have a few bumps in the road where sometimes I just really want to call my dad and be like, please talk to this teacher, professor, because I can't deal with it. I'm over it. But yeah, I do have my moments where I feel like independence is not for me. Adult life is not for me. But I'm learning as I go.
Okay, good. So that adjustment into being more independent, I think that's important for a college student because, like you say, you have that direct support that may be a phone call away. And I know you're not that far away from home, but it's still a transition and learn how to manage and budget your finances. And let's touch on
Hmm.
that a little bit. It's easy to call dad, call mom. I need some money. Got this coming up at school. Mom and dad gonna take care of it. Not saying you don't have kids that work at school. There's some kids that have jobs in high school, have to support themselves. That wasn't really your situation. You had a great support system, but now even though you have people still supporting you, I saw you for work like a summer job. You have to learn how to save your money. A lot of kids that go to college, they start getting those refund checks. That after all tuition is paid, they get them checks. They get them big sums of money. And some kids, they're not used to having those big sums of money. How have you done with managing your income? Because you get this money you done got from working, money you getting from refunds. I believe you've been blessed with some scholarships and stuff, so you got extra money. How do you get past the temptations to just go crazy and spend, as opposed to maybe knowing that I have to be careful? I can't just splurge. I can't just go for bro. And there's stuff out there. Even a lot of kids when you go to college, a lot of stuff is cheaper. The food, the clothes, a lot of stuff. It's a nice little deal for you. So there's a lot of advantages. You may be in the heart of a downtown city of the mall. You can go shopping. So there's a lot of reasons you can go out there and spend your money. And like you said, mom and dad ain't there to tell you, oh, don't spend, save, and do this. How is it that you haven't been that college kid that say, man, I'm about to blow this money and live it up? Because I just know as your father, you like to save, you like to manage your money. How is it that you've kind of overcame the temptation to just go out there and get wild with your money?
Um, I guess I'll say from Upward Bound, that's how I learned how to manage my money more, aside from like the support from you and other people teaching me how to manage my money. I used to be part of this program, for the people that don't know, called Upward Bound. They took us around stuff for college, but we used to get paid to be in a program. And there was one time I got a big check and I blew it quick, really quick, because it was my first time having such a large amount of money. And after that, when I didn't have the money anymore, I was just like, dang. And then I kind of like sat back and I'm like, all this money I just spent, where is the stuff that I bought with it? Like, I had nothing to show for the money. I feel like, me personally, I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but I feel like that's most definitely a lesson that'll teach you how to budget. It'll teach you, okay, save your money, because when you blow it and you don't think when you spend your money, you're going to turn around, it's all going to be gone. And you're going to be sitting here, you're going to be like, what did I buy? Where is it? Where's the stuff that I bought? Like, I don't know. When you just I just that was the biggest lesson for me. So that taught me how to budget. So after that, I went to you, and you taught me how to budget, how to save my money, broke it down to me. And after that, I started learning, okay, when I do get big lump sums of money like this, put some aside for saving. Don't touch it at all unless it's an emergency. Put money aside for myself to spend when I do want to go blow some money. And just, yeah, I after that, I did teach myself how to save money, but it most definitely is different in college, because now I have bigger responsibilities financially, and this really do play into learning how to be more independent. Because when I did get here, that was one of the things that I did learn, especially this semester. um Financially, as a college student, especially when it's your first year, so 9 times out of 10 you won't have a car. If you don't like dining hall food, you will have to figure out how to feed yourself. For me, I had to just buy new clothing, new shoes and stuff, and then laundry. Oh my goodness, especially with inflation. Yeah. Yeah, like it's you have a lot of uh financial responsibilities that you don't think about when you get to college. So that was really another thing that taught me, yeah, now not only do I need to put money aside for saving when I do get paid, I need to put money aside for things that I need for college, like when I run out of laundry detergent, stuff like that. So then when I need to go to the store, I can just buy it. I have money put aside for things like that. But yeah, that's really important from your transition to high school and college. Because when you're in high school, your parents buy all that stuff for you. You don't think about it when you're in high school. It's always laundry detergent in the house. um your house is the dining hall. Parents always got groceries and snacks, and when they notice that it's gone, they go shopping for you. You don't have to come out of pocket for things like that until you get to college. And now you have to figure out the college don't provide laundry detergent. So now I gotta go buy my own laundry detergent. And then you gotta think about, dang, I can't just be pouring it in there all recklessly. I got to measure it. This now I gotta measure the laundry detergent so I can figure out, okay, can't be using it all up irresponsibly. And then dining hall food. Me and my roommate got sick of the dining hall food quick. And this semester, we've been trying to figure out, okay, what nights are we going to buy food so we can cook ourselves? What nights are we going to go out to eat so we don't spend too much money? That's another thing you have to budget. And then aside from stuff like that, you have to remember when you get that refund check, most for some people, depending on like the classes that you have that semester or your major, you don't keep it. You don't keep your refund check because you have to buy textbooks and school supplies. This semester, last semester, I didn't have that problem, but this semester, whew, I I had teachers telling me I need you to go buy this, this, and this. Sometimes I just ran into the issue where I have two teachers where I have to pay like $95 just to access my homework. So those are things that you have to think about when you get to college. You just have to learn how to budget. Like, let me just put a big amount of money aside just in case things like that pop up. Like I need a textbook that I didn't know about last minute. You'll just have the money aside. So yeah, college most definitely taught me how to budget better than I did in high school because I feel like it's a maturing thing. When you transition from high school to college, you mature. You're in a different atmosphere. You don't have that support system with you every day to do things for you. Now you're like, in a sense, the adult. I don't think I'm grown. Now, in a sense, you're the adult, so you have to think about things like that. I'm not grown at all. But yeah, in a sense, you're the adult, so you have to, in a sense, provide for yourself. So yeah, that's how I've been kind of getting through, just being mindful of, just being mindful of the things that I know I need. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you. That was a wonderful explanation about that transition into independency, budgeting, being more mindful. I think that's a great statement you made. I think every parent, it's hard at times. You try to teach your children about budgeting, understanding what parents provide, especially with this generation. They think, the food, the shelter, everything we provide, stuff they get. But when they're in a position where they have to start just to a certain degree taking care of themselves,
Mm-hmm.
you get a viewpoint into, man, this is what mom and dad have to do all the time. They have to provide this and do that and make sure this is good, make sure that is good. Y'all, please excuse me with all the coughing. I apologize. A little allergy flare up, but we gonna get through this interview. So I think a lot of children miss that until they have to do it for themselves, and then they begin to understand what parents have to go through on a regular basis to
Mm.
provide and take care of them. So I think it's also a good teaching lesson for children just to learn, and I believe you have still the support of your parents, those of us back home, but it's good that you are navigating through this so successfully. and learning these lessons. The next thing we want to go to, with you being in college, is the social life. In high school, you were very involved, uh, very known for your singing talents. If you have never heard Symone sing, a beautiful voice. She is a music education major at Illinois State University. So she majored in music, singing, vocal performances. You were very active in high school, a few sports, different clubs, all type of stuff. Very involved, very known. To this day, many teachers, people ask me about my daughter. She had the chance to go up to Rich Township. Some students saw her, were very happy to see her, miss her, and things like that. But now you're transitioning into college. And me as her father, I know what she's dealt with trying to socialize. And as she said, it's a different atmosphere. So I want you to talk about, share that with everyone. What you share with me, the challenges you've had in being able to social. Because if people say you go to college, a lot more people, parties, events, all this stuff. It's not that it's not things that are going on. There are a lot of social events.
Right.
But why has it been a struggle for you to become as social as you were in high school? Now I know you've talked about with high school, these are kids I've grown up with since like elementary to high school. I've known all these people, but now you're in this situation where it's a whole bunch of brand new people. And I know when I was in college, I had a little bit of reserves, but yet I was excited to meet all these new people. And I didn't go to college with anybody that I knew. My daughter's there with her best friend, they're roommates. But now you've had some issues with socializing, with getting out there, getting to know people, to get more active and stuff. So just talk to us about that change in atmosphere and why now it's such a challenge for you to be as social and to be as involved.
Uh, like my dad said, not even just in high school, but in like grade school and stuff, I've literally been in school with the same people since before fifth grade. Like in the same classroom with the same kids every year. From grade school, middle school to high school, I've literally been in the same classes with the same people. So it was easier for me to socialize because I became so comfortable in that atmosphere with those people. So I never really had to, like, I was always social, but I never had to socialize outside of that group of kids. And then especially because they were all familiar to me. So coming out of high school and then coming into college, not only was I already was worried about how I was going to adjust to these different kinds of classes, different kinds of teachers, and then on top of that, I'm stressed out trying to figure out, okay, syllabus, these things, where do I go on campus? So then I turn around and I'm like, dang, I ain't socialized, I ain't made a friend, be in bed by 7 o'clock. It's just, it's really, I feel like that's the thing that affected me most. I feel like that's why I'm not so social anymore, because I'm in a completely different atmosphere. I feel like that's something that they don't prepare a lot of college students for. Especially, I mean, period. It really doesn't matter. Like if you weren't in my situation where you grew up with the same kids throughout school until you graduated, I feel like that's something that they don't talk enough about when you do transition to college. Being social, it's really hard to be social. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like that's my reason why it's so hard for me to socialize here, because I'm in a completely different atmosphere. And then on top of that, growing up, the I my school is very diverse now. The college that I go to a PWI. I Throughout grade school and high school, it was really like I was going to an HBCU, because all I saw were African Americans, people that looked like me. We didn't have a lot of diversity. So I feel like that's another thing that plays into you being social, because not only are you worried about your major, your classes, and things like that, I'm on a completely different campus where I'm seeing different races of people. It's very diverse. So it's like a whole new world for me. These are people that I haven't been around. And I love it, honestly. Because this is exactly what I wanted when I chose college. I was telling my parents, I want diversity, 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 diversity. I need new type of people to be around. And um, so yeah, I don't know. It's just being in a different kind of atmosphere. I feel like for me, it really slowed down how social I was because kind of like a culture shock. I don't really know how to explain it. It's hard for me to be social when I'm not around that vibe that I got comfortable and normalized around. So now that I'm around different kinds of people, multiple personalities that I'm not used to anymore, it kind of just, kind of puts me in a corner. I build up walls and I'm like, no. So now I don't socialize unless I have to, unless I'm like in a group setting where I got to do a project and I have to talk. Like, but I am trying to do better. But yeah, I feel like that's what affected me the most because when you go to college, you really I don't it doesn't matter what college you go to, you're going to be in a different atmosphere, especially if you went to school for 4 years in high school with the same people, same atmosphere. You were around the same personalities every single day. And now you're around hundreds of people, different personalities. These people grew up differently from you. So it's hard for you to be social when you're not, this isn't your normal. This isn't your everyday anymore. This is a completely different vibe. So it's a lot that can weigh down on you, and you can find yourself not being as social as you used to be, especially with me. And in high school, I used to perform a lot, sing a lot. Anytime they give me the opportunity to be on a stage, I take it. The amount of basketball games I sang at Richie's was crazy. But now here, I'm kind of like, my best friend was just telling me the other day, you need to start singing like 30 minutes a day now because I don't hear you sing anymore. It changes when you're in a different atmosphere. It's not even just the fact that you're social. You'll find yourself becoming a completely different person. I don't have the same habits that I did in high school that I do in college now because I'm so worried about my responsibilities that I don't find myself being as active. So I feel like it is very important. This is something that I feel like really does need to be talked about more to high school students as they transition to college. Find something to do outside of your major, a club, an activity. Try to be social. Push yourself to be social. Because if you don't, all you're gonna be doing is school, 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 work, 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 and that's not a bad thing. But you can become depressed. Your mental health can be affected by that if you're not socializing, if you're not getting out in the world. Like I said, I'm in a whole new world. It's a lot for me to see and things that I could be missing out on if I don't put my life on pause and say, hey, it's a bunch of clubs, new things for me to do, stuff for me to join, and all of that. So yeah,
All right, very good. Thank you. I think that was a wonderful explanation of that for those that are facing that challenge of the transition and having challenges with being able to socialize, finding who to socialize with, who to talk to, who to be around,
yeah.
what things should I participate in. You just got to be careful. Then you got your schoolwork going on, all that stuff. So, thank you for that. So, I think one of the last things I want to discuss with you also is that, with you being a music major, and you made a point about when you go to college, like this atmosphere that you're in, different things that you don't feel that high school fully prepared you for this transition. I know one thing you've touched on in your major is that you're singing music and doing the type of music that you've never done before.
Mm-hmm.
That was not the norm. So I guess how are you adjusting to something like that? That as much as you love music, as much as you love singing, but now you're learning things about music, about key signatures, how to read sheet music, and
Mm.
even though you sang in choir and stuff, all these years in school. High school, you did performances, you sang at games, you did all this stuff. But it seems like you were not given the foundational elements of music that you need to learn. Because you said you're majoring in music and you want to teach other people music. And it's not just so much as let's sing this song. You should be teaching them what key they're in, teaching them how to read sheet music, teaching them what's a whole beat, what's a half beat, what's a treble clef, what's a bass clef, what is all this stuff. And for all the years you did music where people thought you, oh man, Symone's this beautiful singer, this great voice, but now you're in college and you're finding out I never got the foundation of all of this. That
Yeah.
when you really think about music on this scale, you're kind of behind the mark. So going up and through high school and stuff and junior high, everybody think, oh man, not saying that yes, you have a great gift to sing, but when it comes to the foundation of it, the core of it, the history of it, you're kind of left like, oh my God, they taught me nothing.
Yeah.
How are you dealing with that transition now? Because this is your major, this is your life's work, this is what you want a career in, and your college expected you to have some of this foundational information, but you're like, no, I'm not there yet. How are you dealing with that? Because I think that plays into a lot. I know when I went to college, I majored in biology, and all of the stuff that came with college, I can honestly say I was not prepared for it. My high school did not prepare me for it, and I figured it out as I went along. And I think as your dad going to college, I've tried to kind of ease you in, teach you some things. Hey, you're going to go through this, deal with that, this and that. You know, it's going to be a little bit different because this time and generation is different, but just trying to help you out. But how are you adjusting to something that you're so passionate about and that you know that for my life's work when I'm done with school, this is what I want to do, but you don't even have you didn't get the foundational tools that are going to help propel you through your major.
But yeah, it's absolutely a struggle. Um, I learned on my first day of classes when I got to Music 100 class, which was Introduction to Musicianship. It was a class where basically he was teaching us how to read sheet music to break it down. I got in the class, I was sitting there, and I just I was just shocked the whole time because I'm like, am I in the wrong classroom? I emailed my advisor afterwards so quickly. I said, I think I'm in the wrong class because they're going over stuff to where they already know how to read sheet music. And she was like, no, you're in the correct class. You just had to know how to read sheet music. Specifically, you had to know how to read bass clef and treble clef before you started at this university. So that's most definitely something that I am currently struggling with because the way that I break it down, learning how to read and understand sheet music is like learning how to speak the hardest language in the world because there are so many small aspects to sheet music. So when I did start to study and catch up, I learned something new. I understood it, and I would go to class the next day, and he would be teaching something completely different that would connect to what I started to understand. So then I'm just like, no, I don't get it. I give up. Like, it's most definitely a struggle. And it's crazy because, like you were saying, I performed a lot in high school. And the way that I perform and stuff, you'd think that I was musically trained, which is crazy, but I'm not. And I just feel like that's something that should have been taught to me. I didn't start to learn um sheet music. I didn't even see a piece of paper that had sheet music on it until my senior year of high school. And mind you, I was in choir my freshman year all the way to my senior year and love my directors with all my heart. I love them, but they did not teach us the background of what we were singing. I feel like that's something that's so important when you're performing music, because it's not just a sound. Music to me is an art, and I feel like when you're learning music, yeah, you're learning the sound, but you need to know what that sound looks like that's coming out of your mouth. So you can have a good ear and you can write it down on a piece of paper. Music isn't just lyrics, it's notes. You have to know what the sheet music, brackets, all of that looks like. And I didn't learn any of it. When we came into rehearsals for choir, we get a piece of paper with lyrics on it. Hey, we learned this new song today. He was singing the melodies to us and play some of it on a keyboard. But all of that is important, but nobody took the time to say, hey, we're not going to be on stage today. We're going to sit down, and the song that we will be singing for this performance, I'm going to pass y'all a piece of sheet music that is the song, and we're going to go over the notes. I'm going to teach you the key signatures. You're going to learn the scales, all of that stuff. I didn't start to learn that until my senior year of high school. So you think that they were teaching the background of music, what you're singing, but I feel like it's so shadowed. They don't focus on things like that. As long as you get on the stage and you sound good, that was enough for them. That's it. The kids performed good. They did well, standing ovation. But I feel like in a sense you're failing the kids that you're teaching, because now I get to college, I'm here, and I'm like, I dedicated 4 years of my life to a choir, and they didn't teach me the fundamentals of what we were doing. So that's most definitely something that I'm struggling with now. Thank God that I did have a teacher. I took a class called Beginnings Mixed Choir my senior year of high school, where she would give us the music that we were learning, but she would pull up the sheet music of the song in class with all the notes on it, the lyrics on the bottom, and everything. And she would start from scratch. She would tell us, this is a whole note, this is a quarter note, this is a half note. This is what it sounds like, and I want you to sing it with the sheet music. Yeah, there were lyrics on it, but she wanted us to sing. It's called sight reading. I don't know how to explain it, but she was slowly teaching us how to sight read. She would introduce every single note to us on that paper throughout the week when we had her classes. She would teach us what they sounded like. We would learn the scale for music. And then by the time we had everything that we needed, we were sight reading. By the end of the month, we were sight reading a song and didn't even realize it, which is crazy. But yeah, that's most definitely something that I struggle with now. And it's unfortunate because things like this, if I didn't know how to study, if I didn't seek out for help, I could be behind in college right now. I feel like it's most definitely important for kids to learn how to read sheet music, especially if this is something that you want to do in college. If this is something that would apply to your major, learn how to do it in high school. Because if you don't, you're going to get here first semester, you're going to have these classes, and if you fail, you have to retake it. And the longer you take to learn it, you're going to continue to fail classes, and then you'll have to retake them. If you can't take them over the summer, you're not going to graduate in 4 years. That's the realistic point of it all. So that's something that I'm most definitely struggling with. Luckily, I do have some independence. I did reach out to people to get help, so I'm not struggling as bad, so I can make sure I graduate on time. But it is a struggle because, unfortunately, yes, I can sing well, I have a gift, but what's the point of me wanting to pursue a career in this career with this gift if I don't know the fundamentals of it? Because I can sing a note all day, but I can't sit in front of a big choir of kids and tell them, hey, this is what we gonna sing. And if one of the kids asks me, well, can you play on the piano? Can you play the key on the piano? I can't sit there and tell them, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what key it is on there. I don't know how to play that. I'm sorry. So yeah, it's most definitely a struggle, but I'm gonna deal with it because I want to have my big gospel choir of children when I get out of out of college. I'm passionate. I am so passionate, but it's a struggle. But I'm learning how to deal with it.
Well, that's wonderful, and that's the thing. In the midst of adversity and challenges, I think that's great. Um, how you were very transparent and honest that it is still something that you're dealing with, but you're finding ways to adapt,
Yeah.
ways to adjust to it. Because as you go through your college, the rest of the years, even if you go to your masters, you're going to always be faced with something um, that's challenging. But excuse me, it's about adjusting to it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's very important that you're learning that lesson. And hopefully, as people hear this, I believe we as parents, we as educators, school systems, that we have to get better at getting our children ready for that next level. Um, I've talked to a lot of kids, even I know what I went through during my college years, that sometimes a lot of our high schools, yeah, they get us over the stage, graduate, but they're not preparing us for that next level. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping that anyone that hears this would understand that it's more about. I know some college, some high schools are talking about pathways, getting kids to think about what they want to do with their lives, so they can focus on that pathway, so they're kind of a little bit more prepared for college. So I do see it improving in some of the schools, especially in the South suburban area. Some schools are starting to focus on that. But if you hear this, if you're a parent, if you're a young person, and you feel like, I want to go to school, but I don't know if I'm prepared, it's okay. You can make it and be able to adapt to that change and just continue to push forward, stay focused on what you need to do. So, Symone, if we're coming to the end of this interview, is there anything you got coming up? Anything you got going on? I mean, I know if you got shows at school, we may not see them, but are you releasing any singles on Spotify, iTunes? Do you have any personal recordings you're doing on YouTube, anything like that? Or are you just at school studying? Well, what you
Um,
got going on that people need to know about?
I'm just in school studying, but um, I am seriously. I'm gonna start working on stuff because being in college, aside from me not being social and all of that, it is starting to teach me like I'm not getting any younger, and I need to start doing more. God gave me a gift, and I'm not sharing it. I'm not doing anything with it. And, not, I felt like when I was in high school, I performed almost every day. I put on shows at
Yes.
school. I'm on a stage constantly. Got to have
Yes.
my Beyonce moments, all of that.
Yes.
But now that I'm in college, I can't do that as much as I want to. And it kind of made me like real sad because you know, I, I'm passionate about music. I love getting on the stage and performing. And now that I can't get on the stage and perform what I want to, it kind of saddens me. So yes, I am just a college student and I'm studying, but I will start seriously working on my own music. I got something in the works.
Good. I mean, before we go, you can sing right now. You can give the people a couple bars, a couple half steps or something. You can give us a quick something right now before we leave out, so we can anticipate what's to come. If you're up to it, if you're not up to it, we're not gonna put you on the spotlight, even though this is celebrating excellence in the spotlight.
Yeah.
So you want to give the people something to look forward to for once you start posting.
Um, Let me think. Trying to think. One
All the
of what
songs in the world, you gotta think of one. You got something?
every time.
Every time. I know.
Um, you want to give me a song?
Nope, sure don't.
Let me think. Give me
This
a
is
minute.
this
Let
is.
me
We don't have a
process.
minute. We don't have a minute. The people
I
are
do have a
waiting.
minute.
They are waiting.
Um, I'ma sing a oldie that everybody in church heard me sing, but not the social media people. Don't be talking about me yet. He
All
hate when
right.
I re-sing songs, but that's not the point.
Sure do. Let's
Okay.
go. What you got?
Oh God, there's people down here. All right. Because the Lord is my shepherd, I have everything I need. He lets me rest in the meadow's grass and leads me beyond the quiet streams. He restores my failing health, and he helps me to do what I know him the most. And that's why I'm safe. That's why I'm safe. That's why I'm safe. Safe in his arms.
All right, let's put our hands together for Symone Jackson, giving us a preview of some music that is to come. So we're going to be looking out for that music to be released on something:
Yes.
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, somewhere. I guess I'll have to promote it as her father. I guess I don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I'm declaring it in about a year. Jonathan McReynolds gonna reach out to me, and I'm gonna get that collab. Oh, praise God.
All right, if anybody knows Jonathan and you hear this, he needs to collab with Symone
Hey,
Jackson.
Johnny.
All
Hey,
right, so I know you got to get back to your studying
thank
in school,
you.
Lich.
Thank you.
Or somebody at school heard her singing. Ain't that? See,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, when you in the celebrating excellence in the spotlight, you never know who can be born, who can get more exposure. This is why I'm doing this, so that people's talents, gifts, professions, and stuff can get more exposure, draw more people to them. This is the purpose behind it. One fan already because you were on this interview. I'm telling you, this is amazing. So, thank you, Symone Jackson. Thank you to
You're
our listeners, to
welcome.
everybody that tuned in. I appreciate y'all. And we will see y'all next time for our next installment and interview into celebrating excellence. Y'all have a great one.